Yo, listen, damn, I've been woke for a minute. Getting checks need a percentage. Getting so lifted, how I'm so gifted. I played in your track, but they told me to skip it. I just been spitting, look at me back in my ways. I've been on this shit since back in the day. You could not tell me that I did not pay for the sins I committed. Got locked in a cage. Woo, woo. Stay in your place, I'm riding the BM, but I want the way.
Yo, what is going on, everybody? It's your boy McQuinn, and I'm back with another episode of the I Said It podcast here live at New Wave Studios. If you want to book a session, be sure to hit us up on Instagram at New Waves Guam or go to newwavesguam.com. If you want to book yourself a DJ, just hit up my man DJ Heartless, DJ_Heartless. You can also catch him at Slippery Fish every Friday and at 13 Degrees on Saturdays.
Yes.
And single out now from my boy Spellrail, Hundo, and J-Dot called Lay It Down. It is out now, streaming on all platforms. And we have a brand new single, Miss Lauren Peretta, coming out with her new breakout single, available October 22nd. So be sure to, tap in with us and support everything that we're doing. You know what I'm saying? We got y'all. We love y'all. Today, on this episode, I am honored to be graced by the presence of this wonderful woman here. I'm sure y'all know her, y'all love her. Guam's very own Miss Positivi-Tee, Tiara Lizama. Welcome to the podcast.
What's up, guys?
What's up? So, what village are you from?
I'm from Santa Rita.
Oh, okay, you from the south?
South side.
Nice. So, T, we talked about this for a cool minute. Like, we were supposed to have done this podcast months ago.
Yeah.
Because, I feel like you have a lot to talk about. I feel like you have a lot to say, and your story is just so interesting.
I feel like a lot of people say that I have a lot to talk about.
You do, though, and people love your energy. People love the type of vibe that you bring.
Yeah.
The presence. Like whenever you walk into a room, people are like, oh, who is that? But people that know you, they're like, oh shit, it's T.
Yeah. That's facts. Yeah, man. I think it's just who I am. It's who I've always been as a kid, and a lot of times I always thought it was like attention, but it's really not. It's just like, it's so much love. And I'm a big believer in like, you give love and you'll receive love. I stopped making it about like going out to be seen versus like now I'm just like, I'm all about the energy. And if something's whack, I won't be mean about it, but you'll just know I'll just kind of remove myself from the situation,
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
So yeah, he's just all about the vibe for the most part.
Yeah.
And if it's not there, yeah.
And I think that's important because, like, if you go out in public, like, you're not going out to be around negative energy, And I think as human beings, we have enough stuff going on in our heads that, like, why would we want to put ourselves physically in another person's presence and be like, oh, I feel like crap, or I want to have a bad, like, who chooses to have a bad day? Like, I want to have a bad day, let me go be around these kind of people. So, yeah, you just always got to choose that higher self and that more positive side to life.
Right. I feel you most definitely. And of course, misery likes company.
Yeah.
But I mean, those people, they choose to be miserable.
Yep.
And they try to bring other people down with them. So what is it that you do to keep yourself positive, and is to keep that that larger than life aura around you?
I think it's a lot of practice. A lot of people don't see this, on my Instagram. If you follow me, you'll hardly ever see me post like negative stuff, but I'll post like stuff about shadow work and like about darkness and about toxic behavior. But I think for me, it was holding myself like accountable. Like, I'm human. So we all have bad days, and we all have people that make us mad and put us in a place where we like bad habits come back, or triggers, right? Triggers and trauma are like the biggest things being talked about right now. So I think it's definitely practice. I've been doing this, man, I want to say I've been trying to do this my whole life on having control of like the negativity around me. But sometimes I think the beautiful thing about this is that you got to kind of let that in to get to a place of acceptance of like who you are. And you got to like realize that things that happen to you aren't who you are. They're these necessary experiences to go through to like get you to that higher level of life, higher level of self. Like, hey man, don't get me wrong, you guys see me party all the time. I've done things in my life that I'm not proud of, but I definitely don't regret it at all, because in those moments, it's what myself, like, I needed to do to like be better. Because if I didn't do it, I wouldn't know better. How are we gonna like learn if we don't make mistakes, right? So practice, and whatever that practice is. Sometimes you'll see me like journaling on my Instagram, or I'm reading books. Like, it's a conscious choice every day to like want to be a better you. So that's how I kind of stay on top of it. And sometimes, man, like, I'm lazy. I don't want to do the work. I just want to party and I want to like be free. But I think I'm at an age now where the freedom is definitely having that better sense of self. And it's, it's not about like alcohol or partying or being at like, at everything. Like, now it's just, I want to be like my best self every day I step out, and regardless of what I'm going through. Like, I could go through shit and like during the day, but my practice brings me back to, okay, now I'm at that point where I'm like, okay, what is this teaching me? Instead of like blaming everyone around me for what's going on, I'm like, you did this to yourself. What's the lesson? So yeah, that's how I kind of stay on top of it. So practice. Being a better person. Most
def. I like that. I like that attitude, and I like the whole the concept as far as going out, because I feel the same way in some aspects. I feel like if I'm going out for no reasons, I don't know. I feel like, to me, if I'm going out for no reason, I feel like it's celebrating failure to some degree for me, because I always have to feel like I accomplished something in order to celebrate, because that's basically what we're doing, right? We're going out to celebrate the end of the week, or celebrate, the weekend is here, or I don't gotta go to work tomorrow, so let's get fucked up and let's turn up, let's have a good time, and I feel like I have to have a reason to do it, to do that. Otherwise, to me, I'm just like, I feel like I'm wasting. I feel like I'm not doing anything. I don't feel like I accomplished much by doing that.
But don't you think like celebrating waking up is a celebration, right? Like, not a lot of people like. That's the thing, though. We should start being more better at celebrating life, celebrating good, man. And I'm a big believer in like the small wins, like, shit, if I get to check off a box of like something I did at work, like, I'm like, good job, T. Because if you're not celebrating yourself, who else is gonna celebrate you? You're just gonna wait for something to like celebrate. Like, you shouldn't wait. You should, if COVID has taught us anything, it's that you should celebrate what you have right now and what's in front of you. We're all waiting till we get to like the bigger part to celebrate something. Whereas I think that's what we're looking at. We're looking at the things we don't have yet versus like what we have now,
Yeah, and that makes sense. That definitely makes sense, because, I've done a little more celebrating the small wins, but at the same time, I still try to remain humble to some degree, because and that's where I fuck up too, as that I get kind of worried about how people will view that. It was like, he thinks he's the shit now because he's celebrating this. How come every week he's got to do that? So sometimes I do get a little caught up as far as to how people will view me because I'm celebrating the small things. Because it's like, you getting cocky, now you think you're the shit. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, you're right about that.
But does like anyone ever actually tell you that?
No, that's the thing. Is like, and I tend to overthink, and I get in my own head about a lot of shit. I do. I'm not perfect, and I never try to act like I am. But even though for the most part I don't care about what people think, it's not 100%. Because there's still little things that I'm like, okay, damn, how are people gonna look at me if I do this? How are they gonna look at me if I do that? So then I'll just shy away from it because I'm worried about the backlash from it.
I heard that, yeah. I mean, I get that. Like, I think we all feel that at one point in our lives, right? But, and I hate to say this, but I've been through so much in my life where you just get to a point where you're just like, fuck it. Like, live your life. Like, one of my biggest like things right now, if you always hear me say it, I'm like, live your life. Because that's all you can do. Like, like you just said, or I asked you, like, how do you know that that's being said about you? You don't. It's like you're putting this fear out there that doesn't exist, right? Like, I'm a big believer in like universe and like law of attraction, and definitely that's why I say practice, because that's one thing that I used to do. Was I was so fucking worried. When I was married, I was like so worried about like, oh my God, what are they gonna think about me? You know, all these things, and Guam is small, these stories are gonna come out. And I was just putting so much stress and like depression on myself for things I didn't even know about. Like, people didn't even know anything until I said something, and they were like, oh, really? And I'm like, oh, damn, I just like concocted this toxic story about myself. And like, then that's why I'm saying, like, you gotta come back to be like, who are you? Like, really have those mirror moments with yourself. And even the self-talks, man, I'm so open about sitting in my car and talking to myself. Like, I'll talk to myself every single day, and it's a check-in. It's because you don't want those thoughts to overcome and overpower you, whereas like it's gonna take away the good from you, you know? And like you mentioned it earlier, like, who cares if you celebrate the small wins? What about the people that look forward to you celebrating your small wins? Like, think of it like that. You know, like, oh, I look forward to watching Quinn's like podcast because I want to see his small wins, or whatever, you know, your Instagrams, like you always do your videos. So try to look at it like that perspective. And it's a change in your thought process. And that's really what's helped me.
Yeah, and you definitely tapped into your spiritual being.
Yeah, for sure.
You know, and yeah, we always talk about spiritual stuff. And one of the things that we talked about was finding that inner child. And I remember that conversation because every time that I found myself kind of back in a negative place, that's just like something that I did. You know, like one morning I was driving because that's just like my therapy.
Yeah.
So then I just started to go back to all like this early 2000s pop music that I used to listen to, like Radio Disney days. Yeah. So like I found like Dream Street and singing. Like I just felt like a kid because, you know, when we're kids, we're not thinking about what bills got to be paid, and we're not thinking about, you know, first world problems that most adults think about. We're just thinking about being kids. Oh, we want to go outside and play with our friends, and yeah, just really enjoy life because we don't really have any responsibilities except to be kids and to not get in trouble at school and to, you know.
Yeah.
And
don't go to the principal's office.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I remember you talking about, you know, finding your inner child, and that resonated so much with me.
Good. So how's that going for you?
So far it's helped out a lot.
Good.
It has.
It's good.
It has. So like, how did you like come up with that, or who inspired you to have that kind of mindset, or
man, a couple years ago, I think it was like 2019, early 2019. This is when I went through like my first like hit the wall kind of spiritual awakening, and I thought it was gonna be this beautiful, like, you know, coming out the light kind of journey. It ended up being a whole shit ton of like, it was like a volcanic eruption, and like it was just a bunch of stuff. And I got my cards read. So I come from a very like Catholic family, and you know, it's taboo in like my family. I can't even say in culture because, you know, that's still a discussion right now. But yeah, my mom, she never like let me tap into that side, or, you know, it was very like, don't do that. But I got my cards read because I was a little lost, and I didn't know, I didn't have anyone to go to. So one of it was like, the card was like my inner child, and it was about me mothering myself. And that's been, I think, my biggest work right now for the last 3 years, going on 4, is caring for that little girl that felt very lost and like unloved, and I'm gonna like cry, and like abandoned. So I think that inner child is important for like all of us to do, because it continues on. And like what drove it for me was like, if I have kids, I don't want to pass this on to them because I can't heal myself, or, you know, what my mom, like what's been passed down to me, like I'm continuing that. And I stopped it. That was like a responsibility where I was like, no, fuck that. Like, I'm gonna take care of this, and I'm gonna do like my best. you know. And man, inner child work is a journey, and I'm still doing it, you know. I'm not perfect, but I'm definitely better than where I was when I started. I'm not as reckless, and I've been a little reckless, you know, the past couple years. It's just because I get into this selfish, you know, kids. We get selfish and we're like, I don't care. I'm gonna do what I want to do. But that's when I had to kind of sit down with myself and say, okay, what are the good things that I want to keep from my inner child, and what are the things that are not her, because it's like past trauma that was, you know, put on her. So there's a really good book too, an Audible book that I'm listening to. It's called Inner Child Healing. And one thing that I took from that was, when you're acting out or when you're triggered, go back to yourself and, like, in that moment, how old are you? Like, why are you acting like this? And I've done it a couple of times where I'm like, oh, it's my teenage self, or oh, it's my like 8-year-old self. I've done this thing where I don't remember stuff from childhood because of it. So yeah, inner child healing is definitely a journey. I'm not gonna sit here and be like it's all rainbows and unicorns, but it's definitely worth doing the work if you really want to get like in touch with who you used to be before all the pain. And that's my goal right now, is that I want that girl back, because I remember her. She was fun. She was alive. And that's why when you say, like you said earlier, like the energy I bring into a room, like that's my most pure self. And when I hug people, I give love, man. I know COVID, but like, as long as you want the hug, I'll give you a hug. But yeah, that's how I started with the inner child stuff. It started from card reading, and you know, it's just gotten better from there.
So you use that moment to break the cycle, so to speak.
Yeah, for sure. Mm-hmm. Yep. I was going through a lot. Like I said, it was like an eruption, and you just kind of make a choice. Everyone has a choice in their life, so I made a choice to do the work, go through the darkness. You know, kind of, I don't know. I was riding the cold down or something, but yeah.
Yeah, go through the darkness to get to the light at the end of the tunnel, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Most def. All right, T. We're gonna get to everybody's favorite segment of the show.
Oh gosh.
My favorite segment of the show is called Shooting from the Hip.
Okay.
With a sprinkle of Positivi-Tee. All right. So it's a series of rapid fire questions that I'm gonna go ahead and ask you. You gotta just answer them in an expeditious manner, if you don't mind.
Okay.
All right. Netflix or Disney Plus?
Disney Plus.
Disney Plus. 90s Nick or 90s Cartoon Network?
Ooh, 90s Cartoon Network.
Ooh, okay. So are you a ocean girl or are you a pool girl?
I'm an ocean girl.
Okay. Your favorite beach on Guam?
Oh man, Retidian.
Retidian, okay. Your biggest pet peeve?
Ooh, dang it. Inconsistency.
Oh, that's a good one. That's one of my biggest pet peeves. All right, what's your favorite dessert?
Oh man, I don't like dessert, but oh man, Mosa's has this taro. I don't know what it is. It's a taro, like it's a warm taro, I think like bread pudding or something, and it has ice cream. So shout out to Mosa's.
Shout out to Moses, yeah. All right, and what's your guilty pleasure?
Oh man, we're talking food or
Or whatever it is that you're like, I don't know if I should, but yeah.
Oh man, I don't really have one.
You don't have one? Even food?
Oh yeah, fried food.
Fried food?
Fried food.
Guilty pleasure?
Yeah,
fried food.
yeah.
Yeah. So bad for you, but it's so good.
Fried
So
chicken.
good.
Oh, shit.
All right, that is shooting from the hip. Yeah. Paper flew this time.
I know.
Make a plane out of it. That's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna start making planes where it's gonna drag on. And so with all the spiritual talks, what have you learned the most from your spiritual journey, and from, I guess, connecting with your spiritual being?
I think the biggest thing is accountability, and not making any more excuses for the way I act. So like if I do something, you know, I kind of, like I said, I take a real hard look at like why I'm doing it and where it's coming from. So it's definitely keeping my, wanting to always just show up as my highest self. That's it. Best self, however you guys want to put it. But showing up every day to be that person versus like blaming your past for how you're acting. So I think that's the biggest thing that spirituality and this constant growth of self has taught me, is like every day I wake up and I'm super grateful. You know, I've lost a lot of people in my life, but I think waking up grateful and thanking source, life, the universe, God, however you want to put it, it's going to start your day off so much better. And yeah, just constantly be aware. Keep that awareness. Like every hour of your day, however you want to do it, just consciously create your life. And I've said that in a couple of things and in some of my writings too. So yeah, and spirituality and the journey of self never stops.
That's dope. That's dope. Yeah, and I love it, you know, and say, you know, we always have these conversations, and I've learned a lot from you.
Thank you.
I've learned a lot just from watching your stories. Like every time I see a rainbow, first thing I think, tea.
And I tell everyone all the time, I'm like, man, I love rainbows so much that when I die and when I go to the next life, I want everyone to like always remember, like when they see rainbow, hey tea, morning tea, like, you know. So thanks for that.
Yep. Every time I see a
you
rainbow, I'm like,
always tag me.
Look, tea's right there.
And I'm like, thank you, Q.
There's tea. There she goes. I might be having like a bad day, but there goes the rainbow. It's like, turn that frown upside down, Q. Like, there's the rainbow.
That bit of color you needed.
And like, see, so look, tea is with us everywhere, everywhere. Shining the light and just always bringing the positive energy, and I love it, and it's a reminder. It's a reminder to just live life.
Yeah, man. Regardless, like I said, you know, you're gonna make mistakes. We weren't all born to be perfect. What do you do before you run? You crawl. Actually, you kind of lay on your back and kind of do this. So before you do all that, like, you gotta experience your life and try to be, one thing also too I want to touch on is try to be a little bit more gentle and patient with yourself. It's and look at yourself as this beautiful book you're trying to get to know, but have a different mindset. You know, don't be so judgmental. Don't be so harsh on like the things you've gone through, the decisions you've made. The past is the past. You know, take every step of your life and do better.
Yeah, and that's what's up. All right, T, where can we all find you? What's your social media? Plug it. Do all that.
All right, guys. I'm on Instagram. Sorry, Facebook is actually just for the fam. So find me on Instagram, Positivi-Tee 3_. And that's how you get me.
That's Positivity with 2 E's.
E.
Positivity. E. Or you can hit a high note.
I cannot with you. All right, MJ, calm down.
All right, I had to do it. All right, and of course, you guys can follow me on Instagram and on Twitter at YupISaidIt Pod. Don't forget to follow us also at New Waves Guam. And do me a favor, go to Spotify, Apple Podcasts, wherever you get your podcasts at, and subscribe. Subscribe now, so that way you'll never miss out on the most electrifying and entertaining podcast on Guam. Yup, I said it. Y'all have fun, love life, love yourselves, and sprinkle some positivity in your life.
Hey, live your life.
All right, peace.
You're so funny, man. Thanks for joining, guys.